My name is Carly. I am a 30, almost 3-year-old in a few weeks. I'm a new mom. Well, she's a year now, but it's still new. To a beautiful baby girl, and she is my only child right now. And the last year has been exciting, to say the least.
Exciting is a very nice way to put it, for
Yeah,
sure.
there's a lot of words, but that's that's it. I'm married. I'm on Long Island. I'll let Becca go ahead and introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Becca. I am 30 years old, and I'm a first-time mom to a 11-month-old. And yes, the past year has been definitely exciting. I feel like no amount of preparation, baby books, parenting advice could have set me up for what I am experiencing.
Yeah.
So that is what this is going to be all about because we're going to give you the honest, raw truth about what we're experiencing, what we have experienced, and just motherhood in a nutshell. But yeah, I'm also married as well. My daughter's name is Vienna, after the Billy Joel song. So yeah, I would love to know actually, if you don't mind, I would love to know the story of
Hmm.
how you found out you were pregnant because I know you had said that you were trying for a little.
Well, I guess we can even start like a little bit before that, because the funny thing is, if you ask my husband, we weren't trying. And I've heard him say this so many times, and I just giggle in the back of my head because I knew down to literally the hour of when I was ovulating. I'm like, we were trying. I was trying. You might not have been. Um, but yeah, so uh when was it? It was Cinco de Mayo, and we were at Moe's naturally. And next to Moe's was a dollar store. So as we were leaving, I had been like a few days late for my period, but at this point, this happened for a couple months, where I think it was like 2 months that I was like, oh, I'm late, and I would get excited and I would get a test and it would be negative. So I didn't like really want to overreact to it, but it just felt different, like in my gut. So I was like, I think I should just run next door and get a test from the dollar store. And he was like, why do this to yourself again? And I'm like, just because. Like, I just need to know. So a dollar store test, literally $1. I went, we came home. And mind you, it was Cinco de Mayo. I had a Corona, and I was like, before I drink anything, that's also why I was like, I need to know. So right away, I peed on the stick and it popped up. And I was like, it was really confusing too. You might feel the same way because we're in like post COVID times, and it felt like I was taking a COVID test. Like, I was looking for the two lines and I was like, am I positive? Like, it was weird. But yeah, it was like I walked out, he was at the kitchen table and I was right at the bathroom down here, and I was like, it says it's positive. And he was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. So literally that was like the most we conversed. And I was like, I'm gonna go to CVS and like get another test. So I ran to CVS and I got the box that had like the two lines, the pregnant, or the yes and no. Cause I was like, we can't have any errors here.
Right.
And all of them said I was positive. And I literally just like walked out, and it did not hit us. We didn't have this like emotional, like excited reaction. We literally like hugged because we felt like we had to do that. And
Yeah, you're like obligated, like, okay.
I just went upstairs. And I was like, he kept working. He was working on tools like at the table, and he like went right back to the YouTube video, like working on a tool. And I was like, we're pregnant. Like, it didn't really sink in right away.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is how I found out I was pregnant.
I always wanted this like magical moment where like I find out, I surprise my husband, I surprise my family, like it was something I was excited about, and I actually got the complete opposite of that. It was a little interesting. Um so we both work in healthcare.
I need to pause this too because as you guys are listening to this, I want you to know Becca and I really know very little about one another. And like you're also on this like new friendship journey with us. So like while
Right.
we're talking and becoming friends with you listeners, we're also becoming friends. So this is really cool. So I just had to give a little
Yes.
backstory to that. Now go ahead.
I actually want to add to that. The first time I ever met Carly is when I drove to her house to pick up breast milk for my daughter's diaper rash.
It takes
And that was like 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
So, and then the next time I met her was when we decided to meet up and chat about making a podcast. So, yes, you're going to be on our journey with us. So, when I found out I was pregnant, I was working at the OBGYN. And I had we had not been trying. We had been actively not trying. So I was tracking my cycle for the opposite purpose.
Oh,
Yes. So I my daughter's fingers are underneath the door right now trying to get in here. So yes, actively not trying, like just all the things. Okay. Pull and pray, tracking the cycle, but I was not on birth control because it was making me sick. I was
right.
off birth control for 9 months. Everything was fine. Our plan was working. It was going so well. And one day I go to work at the OBGYN, and my coworker, who I've known for a long time, was like, "What is going on with you?" Because I was very clumsy. I banged my knee onto the desk. I had bandages all over my fingers because I had made baked goods for one of my friends that I was going to drop off after work. And I had cut myself and I was doing that, like, it's just a mess. And she was like, "You are never like this. You are so clumsy. You have to take a pregnancy test." And I was like, I didn't even
Wait, is that a
it is
clue?
apparently a clue. So like I was like, "What are you talking about? That's ridiculous. Like there's no chance that I can be pregnant." Okay. Literally no chance. Like no. So of course I go. I pee in a cup and I'm working. I'm going about my day. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe 8:15. And I'm like, you know what? I haven't heard from her. Like, she hasn't come back. So I'm sure it was negative. Like, just like I thought. I hadn't even missed my period. Like, we had sex, my husband and I, once during that cycle time. And I
I
knew
think
that we had both been drinking that night and nobody finished. Okay. So we're getting nitty gritty here, but I'm like,
what's
that I
that?
know how this works. And like, it's not gonna
Yeah.
happen. So my coworker comes back and she has tears in her eyes. And I'm like, she is totally messing with me right now. And she's like, it's positive. And I literally turned and I was like, no, no way. And she pulled me into the back office where I saw 4 pregnancy tests lined up. She did 4, all very positive. Very. So I immediately burst into tears, upset, literally on the floor at my job. Cannot function. I cannot function. They send me home. They're like, "You need to figure this out." And I thought to myself, I can't walk in my door sobbing and not tell my husband. Like, I wanted to make it like a nice thing. So I wake him up because he's still sleeping. He works and it's like a different shift. And I'm like, "Babe," and I'm absolutely bawling my eyes out, hyperventilating. He's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "I'm pregnant." And he goes, "Oh, okay, it's fine." Rolls back over and goes back to sleep. I am like so upset. Cried that whole day, like wasn't eating, like just devastated, like literally feeling like my life was over. I'm like, that's it. I was like mourning my life. I'm like, I'm just, it was bad. So the next day was a Thursday, I go into work, still crying. They send me home again. They're like, "Becca, you cannot be here." I am literally just absolutely inconsolable. And I'm not a crier. So like they were like, something like you're messed up. So they sent me home again.
Right.
On Friday, I go into work. They send me home again for a third time because I cannot stop crying. I am not eating. I am literally so upset. So my coworker, before she sends me home, she's like, you have to tell your mom. Because me and my mom are very close. She's like, you have to call your mom. She will help you. I am just like on the floor sobbing. I can't even get in the car to drive home now. Like I'm just absolutely a mess. And
Yeah.
so my coworker, who I'm very close with, who actually took the test, like for me to the test, calls my mom. And she's like, here's your daughter, FaceTimes me, sobbing on the floor at work. She goes, is she pregnant? And she goes, yes, she is. And so my mom starts crying, happy tears. She's like, Becca,
Wait, how did she just like why was that her question?
she just, everyone knew that
Yeah.
I was not there. I was not there. And obviously things have changed. I'm absolutely in love with my daughter, but it was so bad, so bad. And there's like a lot more to the story of where I finally came to, but I probably cried like that for 2 weeks and just like went nowhere, talked to nobody, just laid in bed and mourned my old life. I just wasn't ready.
It's hard. And like I feel for you. I wish I knew you then. I would have been there for you.
I
But like
appreciate that.
something that I mean, I see these videos on social media of like the partners taking the test together and like these beautiful
Moments, you
moments.
know?
And like, I mean, ours was anticlimactic, but it wasn't like yours was like fear. Like
Yeah.
that is just like your fear.
Yeah.
It was like,
Absolutely. And there was so much to the fear, like now that I think about it, especially like working in OBGYN, it's like I've seen everything that can go wrong, like
yeah,
everything. So I was afraid from literally pregnancy all the way to delivery, all the way to having a child. Like we lived in a 1 bedroom apartment with 3 cats. Like there was no space for a baby. We had been
right.
looking for a house, like so that was part of it, but also like I just wasn't mentally there. My husband and I were like, nothing wrong with this, but we were going out every weekend to the bars, and we just like it was time to grow up, but I wasn't ready. I was really enjoying not having any responsibilities, but
Well, now there's quite a few.
quite.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was definitely crazy. But looking back at it, I know I was valid for how I felt, and like so if somebody
Well,
else were to go through that, I'd be like, I absolutely get it, and like let them go, because there were so many people who had told me at that time like nobody's ever ready for kids. And while that's very true, I was in a very different headspace. Like that wasn't working on me. That actually was making me more upset. So
right.
I don't know. It was definitely an interesting thing, but sorry to get off track. Actually, where I was going with that is there's this quote I've always loved, and I loved it since high school, and I never really understood it. But the quote is, just when the caterpillar thought its life was over, it became a butterfly. And I've loved that quote forever. And
That's it.
truly, that's what happened to me. I thought my life was over, but it wasn't over. I just transformed into something better.
That you like literally never could have imagined
Right.
until you were there.
Right. A caterpillar doesn't know that that it's going to become a butterfly. It just knows to be a caterpillar. And when it goes
Right.
into its little chrysalis, it's like, okay, like going to bed, going to sleep forever. Like it doesn't know. Maybe it
Right.
does, but I didn't. I was like, well, that's it. That's the end. But it was just the beginning.
Yeah. Oh,
It was crazy.
that's so wild.
It was
Wow.
definitely
How early
wild.
were you? How far along were you when you found out?
So that's a great question. I was 3 weeks pregnant. so
3 weeks.
so
That, yeah.
there's a super I'll give you the quick story. But essentially I was 3 weeks pregnant when I tested positive at work. The following Monday, I went to work and I had gotten my period right on time, right on track. So I was like, oh, I must be implantation bleeding. There's implantation bleeding that could happen when you're pregnant, but it was right on track with my period.
Oh,
And
jeez.
it wasn't implantation bleeding. I was hemorrhaging, like normal. Like I thought maybe I was having a miscarriage, even. Like it was significant. So I went and got a blood test to see how far along I was because there was nothing on an ultrasound. And so I thought maybe I had a miscarriage. Turns out, this is crazy. Turns out I had what they call a vanishing twin. It's when you're pregnant with twins, but one doesn't make it past like viability time. So totally normal. It actually happens to a lot more people than like
Wait,
you.
that's loaded.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy, but it actually happens. And that's the thing too about working in OBGYN is I knew all the bad things that could happen. And truly, like most of them happened to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had what they called a vanishing twin. So that's why when I went in on Monday to get my levels, like my blood levels, it said I was like 8 weeks pregnant. Like those are the numbers. And I was like, that is quite impossible. And they did a sonogram and there was nothing there. So they
Right.
were like, that's interesting. So eventually, like at 6 weeks, there was just one embryo, and then I did a sonogram every day when I was at
Okay.
work. Every day.
Nice.
So there was one embryo at 7, and then I mean at 6, sorry. And then at 7 there was two. And then by 8 there was none. So like it was basically two sacks and one of them was just empty because that's
Oh,
probably what happened when I got my period. So
wow.
it was kind of like a weird thing, but I just was like, twins? And then I was like, oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So
almost like
I was like,
relief.
I don't want to be pregnant at all. And then
Mhm.
it said twins. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I'll take just one. And then just one. So
Oh, and she's so beautiful.
thank you. She's
You're
great.
welcome.
She's
Wow.
great. I think that I was blessed. Like, God was like, all right, you said you're not ready. I can't take it back. So we'll give you an easy baby. So she's
Yeah.
an angel. Thank
Well, I
goodness.
can say Vienna was here the other day and she is such a chill baby. She literally was just like laying there hanging out. And I was like, I don't think my daughter has ever done that.
No,
And
Jules is so cute. Like she's walking around trying to say hi to Vienna. Vienna's just a little like she was really cranky that day too because she's teething. She was
oh,
like, "Don't touch me. Don't look at
the
me."
teething, that needs to be an episode in itself.
Oh, I
The
think I
teething.
agree. I agree.
I
Yes,
mean, yeah.
that's crazy.
I can't even get into that.
Did you do a gender reveal?
So I would have loved to do like the big and again, like the things that you see on social media, but my husband is a he does not like social media. He doesn't care to share his life. He's very private. Um and hindsight, I'm so happy about that because we ended up doing a cake reveal,
Oh, I
but just
love
for him
that.
and I. So my good friend makes cakes. She made us a cake. She had the gender, and we didn't even like tell our families we were doing it. Him and I just sat at the table and we blindly cut into it. We recorded it, so we have it for
That's so
ourselves.
cute.
Um, and then once we saw what it was and we had our moment, which was way more special than when we found out we were pregnant.
Yeah.
Um, we then FaceTimed our family to show them. But like nothing like over the top kind of reveal, I guess you could say that our generation has
I
started.
honestly like that. I like the
Me
intimate
too.
gender reveals.
Me too. I am so happy we did it that way, and I would have no problem doing it for if we want to find out for the second, if there's a third, I don't know. But like I thought it was so beautiful. What
Did
about you?
you did you know you were having a girl? Like, did they say you know? Like, they have a feeling?
1000%.
Yeah.
I would have put any amount of money on it.
Yeah.
And
That's amazing.
yeah, no, and it was just so strange like because I feel like some people have a feeling or like none at all or like they go by like the wives tales, but
Mhm.
I just never everything inside, everything felt like it was just like a she inside of me. And like
Yes,
I just knew.
I absolutely understand that.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's
Did you
so
guys do a
cute.
gender reveal?
We didn't actually. We did like an intimate thing. So my best friend of 25 years, 26 years, something crazy like that. I had the doctor call her to tell her the gender. And then she brought us over like little confetti poppers and we did them off our balcony and she recorded the video.
Cute.
That was it. It was simple. And then she also, with that, she just went crazy. She was so excited that it was a
Cool.
girl that she got like little chocolate coins that say it's a girl. Like she basically bought like what you would buy for a gender reveal,
Right.
but just for us. And so we ended up going, my mom was like right nearby. So we like broke into her book club that she was having at like a friend's house.
That's amazing.
And I was like, I'm going to hand you something. And I literally have it on video and I hand it to her and it says it's a girl. She screams bloody murder. Oh my God, it was crazy. But
That's so
then
neat.
we just like FaceTimed everybody and stuff. But I absolutely knew that it was a girl. Everyone was like, it's going to be a boy. Zach's one of four boys. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no way.
And I
It's a girl.
know. And I feel at this point like I feel like I'm only gonna have girls. I don't know
Oh,
why I have
I
them.
love that for us. I pray for that for us.
I know. But like I don't know. I just maybe it's normal. Maybe like after having one, you're just comfortable, you know it. And I just can't imagine having a son, although
Me
they
either.
then say like the son and mother bond. I don't know.
I know. I feel that too. It's like I've always wanted like one of each at
Yeah,
least,
same.
but I love being a girl mom. Like it's bringing out my inner pink girly,
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm like, yes.
No, I could not agree more.
And
That's
we need that. We need that because, like, as you get older, it's not as acceptable to wear pink everything. But now I'm like, oh, here's my all pink outfit with my pink bag. Like, I'm a girl mom.
yeah, literally. And I make
It's
sure
totally
my outfit
normal.
matches Juliana's outfit as well. We always match.
I love that. I need to
Yeah.
get more matching
It's like
outfits,
color
but
scheme. Not even like we don't
cute.
have like matching outfits like the mommy and me's, but
Yeah,
we
but like the color
be on the
scheme and
same
stuff,
outfit.
right?
Yeah.
So cute. Love that.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell your birth story? Or wait, maybe that's not yet. I feel like let's
That's
not get there yet.
really loaded, because since we're becoming new friends, are you
Yeah.
aware of what happened before I gave birth? Do you know?
I am not. Do you want this in the podcast or you want to
Yeah,
cut
no,
this
it
out?
can be, but we'll get to it at a later date. My
Okay.
husband was in a really awful accident 2 weeks
Oh,
before I gave birth, and we were in the ICU until I gave birth. And
oh my God, I just got chills.
yeah, he's my it's really, really crazy. And I don't know anything other than our experience. But it's definitely not normal.
I'd say no. He's okay.
Yeah, no, it's been a journey. Um, yeah, yeah, he was out of work for about 8 months. Um,
Right as you had a newborn.
yeah, yeah. So like, well, I had to hire help because I was taking care of him and the
Right.
newborn baby. So, yeah, we'll get to that.
Crazy. I did not know that, but
Yeah.
I would love to talk
Yeah,
about.
this might be my own form of therapy as I share with people because honestly, like, if there's one thing that I can say, and again, we will dive deeper into this, is like, you can be in the most difficult situations, but the silver lining is the life that is about to come. And like, I had no idea how I was going to get through it. And they handed me my daughter, and like nothing else in the world mattered. Obviously my husband's health too, but like it
Yeah, of
all just
course.
like came like the darkness and the sadness and everything I've been feeling, the fear of, like, how am I supposed to do this without him right now, disappeared. I was like, "I got this." Then it's like that mom switch that I was like, "I will do everything I have to do for my family." So
My gosh, that honestly though, that probably made you this like a stronger
oh,
mom at least, but
like,
like person. I mean,
I think everything happens for a reason, and I mean, I could have taken, like, a little bit of a lighter lesson, but I do
yeah.
think that it was, a way of showing me that I'm way stronger than I realize, and stepping into motherhood, I needed that little reminder because strength is what we need as moms.
That's definitely an interesting way to think about
Yeah,
it, but yeah, I did not know that. I'm sorry that that happened, but
yes. No,
obviously,
I'm so lucky and my family is beautiful. My husband, it's made every bond stronger. But
wow.
just know that not everything um is always rainbows and butterflies, and that's also pregnancy. Were you sick at all? To segue.
I did not have morning
Okay.
sickness. Did you?
No, I didn't have morning sickness, but I did
Amazing.
throw up around 8 weeks when I went to cook chicken randomly, and then meat went out the window for me. Like,
Wait, I didn't throw up, but I was gagging and would not eat chicken, especially, but meat.
yeah,
I wouldn't.
but come my second trimester, I was fine again.
Second trimester, I was like, I need a big filet mignon
Yes.
on the double.
That is so funny. Yeah, no, I went, like, vegetarian for
hmm
weeks there.
That's crazy. Yeah, so that's good. No morning sickness. Did you took the glucose test?
Yes, I did. And
How was
honestly,
that?
I mean, I was really preparing for this awful experience.
Me
Fine.
too.
I was more so just annoyed that I had to sit there for that long. Like,
Same.
the drink was a drink. I mean, I have had 4 Locos in my past, so if I can hammer down
Right.
one of those, the glucose drink was not that bad.
I had the fruit punch one, of course, because
Is that the orange
I
one?
there's an orange one, I think, and a
I
purple,
think
and
it's
a clear,
orange.
maybe.
I okay, yeah.
I had the red one because I didn't know about red dye 40 and all that stuff at
Right,
this time.
right.
But it honestly tasted, I used to live in a frat house. It honestly tasted like jungle juice
Yes.
that they made, you know? So I'm like, this is no big deal. But I hated sitting
I
there.
know.
But I also failed. So
Same.
you did?
Yes.
You had gestational
No.
diabetes.
I had to then do the 3-hour one.
They wouldn't do that for me.
What
At my office where I work,
maybe
they were
your
like, nope,
numbers were just high enough that they wouldn't.
my number was, it was 1 point above.
Wait,
One.
what was it, like 130, 129, 139?
It was on the first one. It had to be under 180
Oh,
and it was
I know.
181.
Okay. Wow, that's so interesting.
Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
Made me not happy, but it turns out that it definitely as the pregnancy progressed, I was most definitely diabetic because I was trying to treat it with like diet
Yeah.
controlled and it was not going well. I was like starving and my glucose was super high. So they had to put me on insulin. So then I was doing insulin.
Yeah. Oh, well, that brings me to another, so you had to, like, do shots of insulin?
I had to inject shots of insulin in my
So
side.
I had to do shots every day. I was on blood thinner.
Oh, yes.
So
Okay.
that was, and you wanna know the craziest thing? I'm what, 1 year, 13 months postpartum, and I still have bruises on my belly from it. Yeah,
Really?
maybe, I don't know,
That's
but
crazy. Are you anemic?
I was, right now so I was getting blood towards the end, I had to get blood transfusions, for
Okay.
iron, and yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, but I was also injecting myself in your belly, and, like, it became second nature, but, like, starting that was hard. Like,
Starting it was
bringing
weird because
needle
I
to
was
your
like,
own belly, like, I was just
Yeah, like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Is it gonna hit the baby?" And there was many times where I'm like, "It went in my vein. I'm gonna die." And I'm, like, on Google, like, "Am I gonna
Oh,
die?"
you're a Googler. I
Oh,
never Google anything. I didn't
I'm the
from the day I got
worst.
pregnant, I was like, "I cannot and I will not."
It was either that or is that I was calling my coworkers. The problem with working in healthcare is you're either, like, totally comfortable and, like, you're like, "I've seen
Right,
worse. I don't need to look this up. I'll be
right.
okay." Or you're like, "I know what this is. I have this." That was me.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting to that point now just because as an OT, it's all about, like, the development now. Like,
Yes.
you're OB and whatever, like, you're pregnancy related, and then you know things thereafter, but for me, I'm like, "Okay, are we hitting our milestones? Like, how's our grass patterns?" Like
Oh gosh. Yeah, I don't even honestly, I look none of that
yeah.
up. The pediatrician is like, "Is she doing this?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "Okay,
Right. Well,
that's
and that's
fine."
too, like,
Like,
I know Vienna, we were just talking, like, if she was crawling or walking, and Jules was, like, a really late bloomer too, and we have a cousin who their daughter is 2 weeks younger than Jules, but, like, flew through her milestones. She was crawling, she was walking, she was running basically before Jules could even roll over, and we had those my husband more so I knew that every baby was different, but he was like, "Should we be worried?" And I was like, "No, no, like, don't worry at all right now. Obviously, there'll come a time if she's still not doing things, but, like, I think the pressure of, like, well, one baby's doing something, that, like, your baby should be doing it is really difficult even when you know it's okay."
that
Me
gets me. That gets me. Absolutely, it gets me.
Yeah,
Like, Vienna's a talker. Like, 3 months old, she said book, she said cat, and she said
that's
dada.
amazing.
And now she's talking all kinds of words. Like every day there's a new word. But this girl like drags herself across the floor as of 2 days ago. She's going to be 11 months. She does not crawl like a normal baby. She army crawls. And that's new. She was late at everything. But I've heard that if a baby is faster at like physical development milestones, like crawling, walking, whatever, that most of the time they're focusing on that and maybe not focusing on like verbal skills.
Interesting.
So that made me feel better because I'm like, she could talk your
Yeah.
ear off. Like she will say words and she's very vocal.
Hmm,
I don't know. And also, I don't know if this is relatable to you, but as the first grandchild on both sides, there's no other babies in anyone's
okay,
family. Why would she walk? Why would she
right.
crawl? Everyone's picking her up and doing what
Like
she wants. Like, so the doctor, when she checked her out, because I was like, I'm nervous, she's like, she's fine. She just doesn't want
yeah,
to.
no, that's true. I mean, Jules was probably lazy because I never wanted to put her down. Like, she was also lazy in the
Right.
sense that, like, yeah, you don't need to crawl, I'll bring you everywhere you need to go.
Right. Oh, you want to come up? Come on, I'll pick you up.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Did you guys, do, like, a bassinet, or did you put her is she in her own room now, or
She is in her own room. So when we first brought her home, we were in our 1 bedroom apartment. We actually, as of December, just moved into a two
okay,
bedroom. She was in the nested crib. Have you seen that? It's like the mini crib.
okay. Yes,
So it's about, for people who are watching, it's about this big. For people who are not watching, it's literally the size of like a, a
it's almost like a
bassinet, I
DockATot
guess.
size, right?
Yeah, but it's like a mini crib. It's literally looks like a crib. So we had that in our apartment and like just everything all together. So she was in our room. And then when we moved, the first night we were here, I just put her crib in here and put her in there. I didn't know you had to like
Right.
train them to like be in their own room. So I just popped her in there. I was like, good night. And she woke up in the morning. Like we both were like, I guess this is normal.
Incredible.
It was crazy. I didn't know. And then my mom was like, she slept in her own room last night? I'm like, well, yeah. She was like, Becca, that's
That's
like
amazing. Yeah,
impressive. I'm like, is it? We didn't
yeah,
know.
that's awesome. Yeah, we again, our situation was different because I was, um
Yes. You needed everybody in close to you
yeah,
at the
our
moment.
village definitely, like, all helped, but because of that, obviously, we weren't even in our own bedroom. I We had a hospital bed on our 1st floor, so I stayed on
Wow.
the 1st floor, and Jules was in the nursery, and, like, my mom we hired a night nurse for the 1st week just to be with her during the night, and she was incredible, but, like, I don't know, it was really hard not taking responsibility of, like, my own like, I
Yeah.
know there's so many people that love their night nurses or, nannies that they get right off the bat, but for me, I struggled because, like, I wanted to be the one waking up in the middle of the night, especially not so sleep,
100%.
like, sh I was her mom. I'm her mom, and I didn't want anybody else doing the dirty work, like, I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna be sleepless, then I'm gonna be sleepless." So,
Right.
um, we figured out a system, but from, like, 3 weeks she was in her room, the nursery,
That's
and
great.
yeah, so
That's so good.
still in there.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely nice having, I mean, let's see. She was 9 months old when we moved her into her own bedroom. But for those 9 months, like there's a baby in my bedroom
I
and
can't
we're
even
in a one bedroom apartment. Like as soon as that baby went down, we were like,
right,
what do you want to do?
and now I'm sure you see the difference of, like, you have a little normalcy of, like, time just with your husband,
Yeah.
which will also have a whole podcast on relationships because
Yes.
wasn't prepared for that. Like, it's
Yeah.
hard to
Yeah. It can get difficult. Absolutely. I mean,
like, yeah.
yeah, we'll definitely. I feel like we definitely need an episode on that because there's a lot to talk about there. But um, how was the end of your pregnancy? Like the very end. Like I know they say third trimester is.
Um, it was I you know,
Do you want to get
it's
into this on the next episode?
no, yeah, what I'm realizing as we're going through this is I think because of everything, my pregnancy ended abruptly and even, like, pre-birth, it almost was like it didn't I don't know, this is all gonna be really interesting to navigate because, like, I had to compartmentalize, and looking back, I think I almost just, like, stopped like, being pregnant almost. I was like, she was in me. I was making sure I was rested. I was making sure I was fed and hydrated, but, like, I don't know.
Well, you just don't have to. I mean, third trimester, a lot of times we're all like, oh, the baby, the baby. You had other responsibilities. So
Right.
you knew the baby was safe inside you. You were doing the right thing,
Yeah,
but you
and
had
I was
things
like,
to
"You
do.
need to stay inside of me.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot come early right now."
Right. You had things to do,
But I
and
was
that's how it went.
working up until then, so I hadn't
Okay.
started my leave, and I work, on my feet every day with patients. I was like, "I'm not picking up your weight. You have to go get your weight." But
Hmm.
yeah, no, honestly, for the most part, I did enjoy being pregnant. Like, I don't think pregnancy was this really awful thing. It wasn't that hard. I feel like I just embraced it. Um,
Yeah.
there's things that are hard about it, but, like, it's just such a blessing that every day I just felt grateful that, like, we were both healthy.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
I love that. I
Yeah.
definitely like I struggled through my pregnancy. I was not prepared.
Right.
Like just felt about the whole thing. When I found out I was a girl, things changed for me. I was like, you know what? Actually, this is going to be fun. So I got a little more excited. But I feel like third trimester is when things just went downhill for me. I was going in for scans because I work there. So I literally, like I said, I have a printout of a scan every week of the pregnancy. And I go in, and they're like, "Oh, you're 28 weeks. You're working too hard because you are starting to, like, your cervix is starting to thin.
Okay.
So you have to go on bed rest." And I'm like, "I'm 28 weeks pregnant. I work like 10-hour days. I can't go on bed rest. What are you talking about?" They're like, "Nope, bed rest." So they sent me home, and I was on bed rest from 28 weeks until I delivered.
Oh my goodness, that's a long time.
It was a long time, and it was making me crazy because they were like, "Baby could come any day." And then I was like, "What do you mean? I'm 28 weeks pregnant." So I'm on the phone with my mom, my sister. They're trying to plan the shower because, first baby, like the baby shower is important. I had literally nothing, 28 weeks pregnant, like no crib,
Sure.
no diapers, nothing. I'm like, "What do you mean?" So
At that point, it's still, like, not fully real.
it's not, it doesn't feel real. And then, like, eventually, it turned out that I was 37 weeks and still pregnant. So
Okay. I was
good things happened, but at that point, I was, doing all the things, squatting, eating dates, raspberry leaf tea, running around, going for walks,
the whole curb walk.
super uncomfortable, awkward sex, but they say that helps.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so
that was, yeah, but at the end, I had carpal tunnel, the super bad heartburn, like swollen
funny.
legs. I was
You
still
were like,
doing insulin.
"Get
Actually,
this baby out."
yeah, I was like, "Please, someone help me." I was like, "Can you induce me?" Every time I'd go in for my appointment, I'm like, "Can you
Did
induce me?"
you give birth naturally, or did you have a C-section?
I gave birth naturally.
Oh my god. See, like, I don't even know what that means.
Did
I
you
haven't.
did you have a C-section?
So, like, it's crazy, and I had a great experience. I would actually, like, opt to have a C-section again because it was so great.
I wanted a C-section.
Did you?
Yes, the baby was breech at my anatomy scan, and
Okay.
I was like, "Yes, they
That
have to
is
do a
so
C-section."
yeah.
Um, but she flipped,
Okay.
and there's a whole story of why I went naturally, but up until the very last second, I was saying C-section.
That is so good. Yeah, so I hear people talk about their birth stories, and we'll get into that another day, but, like,
Yes.
I'm looking forward to hearing yours because I live vicariously. Because I think it's the most empowering thing to, like, hear from a woman is, like, they that you literally pushed your child out.
Uh, Carly, you literally grew a child and birthed a child, and you had a C-section.
Yeah.
That is a very hard recovery. It is. It's
Maybe the second
no less amazing.
parent, yeah, I think I was just on autopilot, but
Yes, but it's no less amazing that you gave birth C-section versus
it's just
miracle of life.
truly crazy.
It is.
The female body.
I still can't believe
I don't. I look at
we're
every cell of
moms.
her being, and I'm like, "You lived in me for 9 months. I was your home. Like, you were
Right.
in me. How?"
I created you.
It's so weird.
I made you, eyelashes and
I
all, like all of you.
sometimes,
It's
yeah.
crazy. So weird. But this is interesting. I like this. I feel like this is like a personal therapy session. And once we get like all of the things out on the table and like introduce us and our pregnancy journey, then we'll have plenty more to talk about. We got teething, relationships, birth stories.
Gosh, so much, and if there are specific things, like, if you're listening to this and you wanna ask us anything, please, we are open books. So there's
Yes,
no
that's why this is raw and unfiltered. You can hear anything from
I'm just
us.
so excited because I think that this is there's I remember and even still, I look for podcasts a lot where I can connect with somebody that I'm just, like, listening and I'm like, "Oh my god, yes, like, that's what I'm referring to, that's what I'm talking about, that's how I feel." And it's really hard because it's all too perfect. And I'm like, "Duh," but it's
Doesn't sound real.
sleeping through the night.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah. We'll talk about sleep training versus not sleep training. Like, oh my gosh,
and guys,
there's
let
so
me be
much to get
clear,
into.
we literally don't know anything other than what we've done. So
Right.
that's it. You throw things at the wall until it sticks.
I love that. That's my whole
That is
mantra of
the vibe
motherhood.
of motherhood. But
I love
I
it.
guess we'll wrap this one up.
Thank you all for listening.
If you're watching this, cheers.
Yes. Yes, if you're watching this, cheers. Otherwise, thank you all for listening, and hopefully we'll be able to do this every week. If you see me and I look put together, don't worry. I won't always look like that. I just felt like it must be special for our first podcast so I don't scare you away. But next time I'll look like Adam Sandler for sure.
I was just gonna say I'm literally in pajamas and an oversized smoothie, and I just showered, no makeup, but I was like, "You know what? It doesn't matter. I'm lucky
That's how
I
it is.
showered." So, that was it.
Absolutely.
So, but thank you guys for listening, and I'm just really excited to connect with you, Becca, and everybody else
Yes.
who's here with us on this journey.
Likewise.
Cheers.
Bye, guys.
Talk to you later.